Yo, peace. So this will be my video on Mars, right? Okay. So now Mars, astrologically speaking, Mars is like the planet of drive, it's the planet of action. It's through our Mars that we act, our sun in a sense also has this masculine energy, but when it comes to our sun, it's more of like our actions in the sense of intent. Like these are things we intend to do, like this is your sun sign. Your sun expresses your intent, like things you're interested in and things you talk about doing. Now our Mars is actually that raw energy which actually executes what we want to do, right? So Mars is like, the planet of war. If we're to talk about mythology, I forgot what the god name is for Mars. I mean, I don't know the god's name for the god of war. Like I don't know the dude's name, but I just know that he correlates with Mars. Like Mars is that energy. Mars is very raw. Like Mars is our it's like our leftover animal nature. Like Mars is where our animalistic behaviors and natures tend to dwell. In the sense that like Mars, it does rule over like impulsive behavior. I want to say that, but what I'm getting at is it's mainly anger. Like Mars rules over anger. Mars rules over fights, being the planet of war. It's Mars is the warrior within, like your Mars represents how you act in a situation. But your Mars is just how you act, it's not particularly, because it's not particularly how you react, your Mars is just how you act. Like whereas the moon is you responding to an external stimulation. Mars is like the planet that doesn't give a fuck about external stimulation, in the sense that Mars energy is very raw, also very impulsive, very direct, and things of that nature. Like it's through our Mars that we go into the world and tackle what we want to get done. Like in astrology, whenever I do a person's reading, I like to correlate the planets to a person. So then I guess in a sense it's more understandable. So when I come to Mars, I always think like, in the old days, of course, he would be considered a warrior, like a Spartan, or things of, or a warrior, a Spartan, or like just someone who's out there fighting. You feel me? But in this day and age, I like to correlate Mars with like in a sense like a 21-year old whom has in a sense got to the point where they just really feel like it's time for them to get their shit, not to get their shit together, but just to start their life, like adulthood. And now they're out there and they're like tackling things and getting shit done. Like in a sense, that's the energy of Mars. It's like the energy of action. It's the energy of getting up and doing things, getting things done. Yeah. So Mars by sign would, in a sense, like represent someone's like action style, in the sense of like how we get up and do things and stuff like that. Like with me having my Mars in Sagittarius, in a sense I am very action oriented, because fire is very action oriented, and not to mention that Mars is exalted in Aries. And I know it rules Scorpio as well. Mars rules Scorpio and is exalted. No, not exalted, my bad. Mars is at home in Aries and is exalted in Capricorn, actually. Yeah, with my Mars being there, it does make me someone who is, in a sense, action oriented, very independent, very into I want to say like everything I do comes from what I know, in the sense that Sagittarius, they are like libraries, like they are philosophers, teachers, preachers, and they have the tendency to want to you know like attract or just infest themselves with as much information as they possibly can. So in the sense, I say I do from what I know, in the sense that like if I learn something, then I'm not comfortable, just sitting there and just knowing it. Like if I learn that if I do this, then this is gonna happen, then I'm gonna try that shit out, and I also think this is my curiosity. But yeah, it also makes me someone whom is, very like so the Sagittarius energy, they're also like and have like this gamble energy to them, and it's also due to Jupiter being the expansive planet, expanding them and things of that nature. um it's so funny. I try not to, I'm like trying to ditch that habit of saying things of that nature, because I feel like I say that a lot, I say that and things of that nature. um yeah, as I was saying, I mean, Sagittarius have a tendency to either go all in, like if they're gonna do something, they're gonna no half assing it, right? They're either all in it or not, and that's this makes me that way. But on top of that, there's also this aspect of Sagittarians being free spirited, trusting the universe and things of that nature, and that has happened to me so many times. Or that's just me. And when it comes to acting on something, I usually tend to act with cooperation with the universe. Whereas if someone had their Mars in Virgo, then they won't particularly be, like that, in the sense of like universe this, universe that, law of attraction this, law of attraction that. I mean, they will, but in a sense, it will be a bit more different, because with these people, they're more realistic, more about understanding, deconstructing like the stuff they're gonna do and what they're getting themselves into. So someone who has their Mars in Virgo, then these people have the tendency to be very analytical. Like when they want to do something, they have the tendency to want to understand the ins and outs of it before they actually get up and do it. Now when we talk about the house your Mars is in, the house that someone's Mars is in just kind of shows the place where they are like most dedicated or most drawn to actually want to commit and do work, and like put their energy within, you feel me? These are the house is like where they want to actually get up and do something. Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this, but yes, Mars also represents the animalistic nature, right? I mentioned that it's like it represents anger, but it also represents sexuality. In a sense, our Mars is like the things that turn us on, I want to say, but the Mars is also like how we are in the bedroom. Um, yeah, and it's like in a woman's chart, Mars would represent like what she's attracted to. What she finds to be attractive when it comes to masculine energy. In a sense, it's like in this day and age, like if someone is like gay, and they're into like the other sex, let's say it's a man and he's gay and he's into other men, right? Then you would look at his Mars to indicate what he's into. Whereas with women, it's the Mars that indicates who she's attracted to. With men, it's our Venus that indicates who we are attracted to, in a sense, and like how we going about getting her, because it's like in a man's chart, the Venus represents like their feminine aspects and things of that nature, like the things that make us just feminine things, because Venus is all about luxury, beauty. It's all about luxury, beauty. I mean, that's relationships, ultimately being feminine, and attraction too. In the sense that Venus, the way she manifests is she just sits down and sends that energy out. Whereas Mars, the way it manifests is it actually goes out and does shit. It actually goes out and gets active. Um, but like, I think that's pretty much it for my for Mars. You feel me? So I feel like that would be it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and like they say, namaste.